we had a track runner, one of our best runners at the time. And she was just a young gal. I think she was a freshman at the time. Her name was Shanitra. Shanitra was a sprinter. I mean, she was a standout, very natural in her talent. But Shanitra had never run a 400 before. She had always done the hurdles, okay, the 100-meter hurdles, the 300-meter hurdles. She had never run an open quarter before. And I began to talk to her over a period of about 2 weeks because I knew a meet was coming where I wanted to introduce her to the open quarter. And so we began to talk. We began to talk about where she wanted to go with track, what she wanted to do that season, and even where she wanted to go in the future, possibly even in college. And over time, I began to paint a picture and put together a plan to help her get where she wanted to get. Talking to her about how the quarter would strengthen her in her 300-meter hurdles. Talking about how the quarter would prepare her and give her an extra event where she could run even on a relay and help get other girls to state as well. Because, man, she really was all about the team. And eventually, again, I haven't even asked her yet to run the quarter. I was just talking about things that could be possibilities. And over time, I began to see that she began to get excited about the plan. She finally said yes. I'll run the quarter. So what I did, I think it was like 2 weeks later, I put her into the 4x4, which was the mile relay. She was going to be our final leg. And she was going to run. She's a freshman. We're putting her in the final leg of the relay because I really felt like she would be able to blow this thing up. She ends up getting the baton in the last leg. She ends up getting the baton, and she is probably about 30 meters behind the leaders. And there's a space there that she has to make up. And I'm going, well, we'll see how she does. And this young gal takes off, and she just gradually begins to catch, gradually begins to move up. And she ends up passing the first place person and ends up winning the race for our team. We end up getting first place. And she runs the fastest time in her split for that quarter that we had on the team for that season. And of course, she just collapses at the end, and her mom is there, and her mom is hugging her and going, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And her mom comes to me after the meet and goes, "I don't think Shanitra should ever run the quarter again." But in my head, I'm going, oh no, she'll be running this a ton because she was incredible at it. I did the same thing in preparing her for her future in college as she came through with track. We began to take a look at, hey, it's going to be important for you to show college coaches how you were able to function in multiple different events. So we had her in the high jump. She won. We put her in the long jump. She won. Almost set a state record. So here she is. I've prepared her now in putting her in multiple events because I had showed her the plan to prepare for a college scholarship. She ended up getting a full ride to the University of Arkansas and had a wonderful career there. But again, she bought into the plan. It wasn't just a vision, there was a strategic plan of what we were going to put her into. Again, you've heard me talk about this story here when I was out at Shepherd's Fold Ranch running the family business and how we started a leadership training school. And how I knew that when I got out there that we were spending around between $60,000 and $80,000 over 2 months. $60,000 to $80,000 in salaries to all of these young college kids that were coming out to be workers at the summer camp for the summer. It was crazy because, again, we just weren't getting a whole lot of real good work out of them. And I, as a developer, wasn't really excited about having employees. I wanted to have students because I'm a developer, I'm a teacher. So I was looking for students. So I knew that eventually I wanted to get to a point where it wasn't just me paying people to come out to be employees, but I was wanting to get to a point where they were actually paying me to come out because there was going to be a school and they were going to be students. Now with this, because it was summer, so we would go 3 months and then 9 months off and 3 months and 9 months off. But over a 4-year period, we were able to not only have a compelling vision, but we put together a plan, a step-by-step plan, okay? And we called it the Furnace. It was the leadership training school called the Furnace. And we had the first level, which was all about learning how to be a worker. The next level was all about being a team builder. The next level was all about being a manager. And the next one was actually being a leader. So here you are. By the time you graduate from college, you will have 2 years experience of actually managing and leading or directing a nonprofit organization. So we began to put forward to all of these kids this plan. Time after time, we would throw this plan and plant seeds and cast the vision and show them this is the plan, that these are the steps that we're going to take. Over a 4-year period, we finally had this group that I felt really strong about, 50 college kids that I felt really strongly about, that if we invited them at this point, if we invited them to the Furnace, that they would say yes. So up to this point, we're still paying them. But then at the end of one summer, I knew that we had the team, and all through the summer, I had begun casting the vision for how much would you pay for something like this? What do you think about this? Because I had them all split up into 4 different levels. All of our staff, there were first-year students, second, third, and fourth-year students that were with us at that time. And we had curriculum for each one of them. And so at the end of the summer, I invited them. I said, just as we walked through each of the meetings, I was going, what do you guys think? Are you learning? How valuable is this for you? How much would you spend for something like this? And I began to find that they were hungry for it. And they're going, man, we would give this up. We would trade this. We would pay this. This is extremely valuable. And at the end of the summer, we said, okay, when you come back next summer, we're not going to pay you. As a matter of fact, you are going to pay us because this is going to be a school. You'll no longer be employees. You're going to be students when you come to work for us. We had 86% of those students come back the next summer and pay to do it. Again, this is the idea of it's not only the compelling vision, but there has to be a strategic plan in place to actually get people to stick with you over the long haul. Or else the vision, again, this is emotional, so people can be all excited about the vision, but when the practical piece kicks in of, man, I need money. Man, I need this, they will begin to peel away because there are practical needs that have to be met. It's just part of the deal. So for you as a business owner, for you as a business leader, for you as a manager, for you as an organizational leader, for you as a nonprofit leader, wherever you are in leadership, it's important that you not only have the emotional vision, but you also have the practical plan on how to achieve, how to accomplish, how to get where you want to get. So remember, as a leader, as we step into our second step here, of inviting. As a leader, you can only invite. You can't force. You can't force people to do things as a leader. Now, as a manager, in a manager role, that's your role, to make sure people do it, to get it done, all right? That's the role of a manager, to get people to do what needs to get done, to hold them accountable, to give them measures every single day. Accomplish this today. Oh, you didn't accomplish it? What can I expect out of you tomorrow? I'll get it done tomorrow. Oh, the next day you didn't get it done? Okay, that's 2 in a row. How about this? How about if we let you go and we get somebody in here that can actually do the job? That's a manager's role. But a leader's role, we can only invite. You can't force people to do it. If you find yourself in a leadership position trying to force people to do things, they'll leave. You guys, this is why I would strongly encourage you, if you have never done this, if you are interested in being a leader, or if you are already in a leadership position and you'd like to really learn how to do this, here's what you want to do right here, okay? The best testing ground for leadership, I've just found this over and over and over again. The best testing ground for leadership is trying to lead volunteers. You got no leverage, all right? You can't say, hey, I'm going to dock your pay. Hey, if you don't do this, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, because they'll just walk away. They'll just leave. They'll go, hey, I'm not up for this. I was just kind of out of the goodness of my heart coming out and helping. But to be in a position where you can lead volunteers. I want to strongly suggest that if you haven't ever done this, to look for an opportunity in your community where you can actually be a part of leading volunteers. Because again, the only thing you can do with volunteers is invite them to do things. As soon as you come in and try to force people to do stuff, they'll just leave. They'll just say, well, I'm not going to do that again. And eventually, when you start asking people to come and be a part of what you're doing, hey, come and volunteer, they'll go, no, I've heard about you. You're a little crazy. You're a little controlling. I'm not going to come and do that. And you'll be doing the work all by yourself because you haven't learned how to invite as a leader. So this was something, again, as being the leader out at Shepherd's Fold Ranch. It was a nonprofit organization. So I found myself with so many different situations where I was actually leading volunteers. And you guys, it's not easy. It's not easy to lead volunteers unless you have a compelling vision with a strategic plan. If you have these two pieces, I promise you there are people out there that have open hearts that want to be involved with something. They want to accomplish something. They want to tap into things that are deeper inside of them than just doing work. They want to tap into something that is bigger. But man, I tell you, if you don't have these two pieces and you bring volunteers in and you treat them like employees and you begin to bark rules, it doesn't work very well. I remember again, this out of Shepherd's Fold, I had put together through a compelling vision and a strategic plan, I'd put together a group of about 25 high school students that were going to come out to Shepherd's Fold over a 3-day period, and they were going to do several different work projects for us. Man, I was excited about it, and they were excited. I had gone and talked with them at their church. I'd gone and talked with them at their schools. They were all excited about coming out. We had a very specific plan of things that they were going to come out to do, and they were all in. They were all excited about doing it. They were like committed to doing this thing. Well, I turned the management of the volunteers over to another person. I turned the management over to a guy that didn't know how to lead. All he knew how to do was bark orders. All he knew how to do was possibly manage, maybe, all right? But he was much more of a worker mindset. So when the volunteers showed up, he began to bark orders. You do this and you do this. And some kids were going, well, I'd really like to kind of work over in this area. Nope, you'll do what I tell you to do. I'll see. You just can't do that with volunteers. And so gradually over the 3-day period, all of a sudden, yeah, I got to leave. I got to do the thing. I forgot my mom, I got to. And so over the 3-day period, volunteers began to peel away and peel away and peel away. Oh, it was so frustrating. And the thing is that I knew that it could work because it had just been a couple months beforehand where I had done the same thing with a group of about 20 different volunteers. And things had gone really well because we stuck with the program. We found what they wanted to do, what piece, what role they wanted to have in all of the work projects that we did. And we stayed together. We stayed communicating together. We stuck to the vision and stuck with the plan. So I knew that it could work. But now that I'd turned this over to mainly a worker, a little bit of management maybe, but he was mainly just a strong worker, great work ethic and dadgummit if I can do it. Come on, bud, you're 45 years old. These guys are teenagers. And he began to get frustrated and angry at them and began to have this face when he was talking to them. It's like it's volunteers. And over time, they began to peel away until at the end, we only had a fraction of the people there to actually get things accomplished. And it was kind of a bust for us. We didn't get things done. So you may know what I'm talking about as far as trying to get people to do things. When you begin to bark at them, it's very hard to inspire. Okay? As leaders, we can only invite. That's a very important thing. You can only invite. Remember, going back to our definition. Get people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. This whole thing because they want to do it. So there are two kind of a little triangle here that I want to show you, all right? When it comes to putting these pieces together to actually get people, as a leader, to get people to follow you. First of all, there is your vision. okay? Where you want to go. There is the plan, okay? The strategic plan. But the key thing that you've got to make sure that you have in place as a leader is you have to know what is their vision. This is the piece that's so often left out as managers. Managers aren't really interested in their vision. They're just saying, here's what I want you to do, get her done, all right? Doesn't make a manager wrong. I hire people to do management. But as a leader, we have to take the time. We have to be patient. We have to get to know people. We have to have conversations. We have to inspire people. We have to invite people because we have discovered their vision. And we know that where I want to go and where you want to go are similar. They don't have to be the same exact place, but they are similar. Because if you don't know where they want to go, you can't invite. All you have is your stuff. And you'll find yourself in a place of, remember this, rather than inspiring, we manipulate. And again, it can be a real fine line between that. But manipulation is an outside force trying to get people to do things. Whereas inspiration is actually coming from the inside. I've tapped into something inside of them. It's their vision, it's their desire. I talked about having a meeting just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's been like 3 weeks ago now with one of my employees. Sitting down, she's been with us for 4 months. So Kendall, let's talk a little bit more about where you're wanting to go and what you're wanting to accomplish. She's only 26. She has a long way to go in her life of accomplishment. She began to say, Clay, I want to go here. I want to be a part of leading this. I want to end up in California. I want to be a part of producing movies and producing videos. She wants to be a part of the Game of Thrones team. It's kind of her vision is where she wants to be, production manager on a video crew. So we began to talk about, well, what do you think are the important ingredients for a production manager? What do they need to be able to do? Well, and she began to list things, and I wrote those things down. I'm writing them down. These are the things that she needs to have to be able to do that really well. And I began, well, so anything else that you can think of? Well, I don't know, kind of this. Okay, so we wrote all those down on the board, and then I said, okay, of these things that you have talked about, when have you done those things? Well, I did a little bit of number 1, and I did a little bit of number 3, but the other things I really haven't ever done before. Oh, so you need some education and some experience in these different pieces.